Welcome back, everyone. It's the Bourbon Judge. Hey, we're back at it with another version of Express Court. But before I kick it off, I want to give a huge shout out to Matt Porter from ADHD Whiskey for inviting me on the Matt Madness Challenge. So I will be on this Friday night. Really looking forward to the Matt Madness Challenge, and we'll see how the judge does, right? You never know. But I'm really looking forward to it again. And thanks again, Matt, for the shout out and including me, man. Really appreciate it. All right, so we're doing an Express Court today, so I'm trying to keep this quick. Oak and Eden. So Oak and Eden is a brand. I've seen it. I mean, we've all seen Oak and Eden before. When you think about Oak and Eden, what stands out is that nice little spire right there, that little small spire, a little small piece of wood, or think of it almost like a mini barrel stave shoved inside of each and every bottle. Literally, truly, it's a mini barrel stave. Shoved inside of each and every bottle. So they take a little spire, like a normal, like barrel staves. They char the wood, depending. They get, charged to different levels. They have different finishes, even in the chars as well. It might be a wine finish, depending if you're getting like a wine finish Oak and Eden product, or just standard, toasted or even just standard charred spire as well. That's what they're typically known for. So when you think about Oak and Eden, it was actually started by a couple of good friends. So first and foremost, Joe and Jamie, so two guys who are brothers. They started the company, and they also brought in their good friend Brad as well. So Joe, Jamie, and Brad, three friends, started the company up. Their whole thing is they're sourcing MGP whiskey for the most part. Sourcing MGP whiskey, typically a little bit younger though, like around 3, maybe even 4 years. What they feel is let's call it the difference, is this little mini spire that they put inside of each and every single bottle. And that spire is not necessarily, they're not aging the whiskey longer, it's not aging longer, but is giving it that unique flavor over a period of time. And the cool thing is, according to them, even having that spire inside of the whiskey bottle, it's not going to deteriorate, it's not going to harm the whiskey, and it should hopefully just improve the quality, the taste of the whiskey over time. I've seen this bottle before, or these bottles on numerous different occasions, and I've always wondered, is it gimmick, or is it a pretty damn smart move? I don't know, I've never had it before. So one of my good friends Shannon, gave me some samples from her bottle that she had. So we're going to review 3 different bottles today of their core lineup. This is their standard bourbon, which is finished with a toasted oak spire. This is a 4-grain bourbon, finished with a toasted oak spire as well. And last but not least, we have their wheated bourbon, finished with a toasted French oak spire. So 3 different bottles. All 3 of these are 90 proof, so 90 proof each, and all 3 of these cost about $50 MSRP, give or take a few dollars depending on where you live, but for the most part about $50. And again, all 3 of these are 90 proof each. Last thing I will say is they do have other versions. They have a version that's like a honey finish, so really it's truly just their standard bourbon, but it has a spire that's finished with like honey, so it kind of adds like the flavor from that perspective. They have some cask strength versions. The cask strength versions are a little bit more expensive. Obviously, they're probably like in that $75 to $85 range. But again, their core products, these 3, standard bourbon, the 4-grain, and the wheated, they're all about $50. Just the cask strengths are a little bit more expensive because it's cask strength. All right, let's start with the standard bourbon. So this is the bourbon with the toasted spire on the inside of the bottle, that is. All right, let me get to the nose real quick. All right, so, and I'm gonna give each one of these its own separate verdict as well. So the $50 price point is not a bad price point for your traditional, let's call it MGP source whiskey. Typically, most of the time, the MGP is anywhere from like that 4 to 6 year range. This one's only about 3 to 4. Plus, they are adding in that spire, so maybe that spire adds so much flavor to it. Potentially, we shall see. All right, so the standard bourbon with the toasted spire. Let's see how this one comes out. So the nose, very nice, light, very delicate. Getting a smidge, just a little bit of caramel, a little bit of vanilla, a little bit of a little pepper too on the nose. All right, the nose is nice and light, Nice and light and crisp, not like very, it's not deep, you know, tons of like leather and chocolate and so forth. Very much like caramel, some honey, some vanilla. Very nice and soft, with a little bit of pepper mixed in as well. All right, here we go, friends. Cheers, everyone out there. Let me get a little bit more. I need a little bit more before I give a verdict. Hold on. Just a smidge. It's actually pretty decent for the quality of the whiskey. At 90 proof, there's actually a nice balance in this whiskey. Much better than what I thought it would have been, to be very honest with you. I like the proof point. This is actually not bad. Wow, I'm actually kind of shocked. I need a smidge more, damn. Okay, so everything in the nose matches the palate. It's a good combination of caramel, honey, and a smidge of pepper. The only thing is the palate is definitely thin and the finish is quick. But at the same time, you definitely get those notes also. They just fade away very quickly. But it's not as, it's honestly, I hate to say it, but it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. So, the verdict. Judge, is this an instant buy? Is it a do not buy? Or is it a leave it on the shelf? I have to always be honest with you guys each and every time. So for the standard bourbon, toasted bourbon at $50, it's a do not buy. Here's the reason why. I like this. If this was probably like $30 to $35, I would probably say, you know what, this is definitely a buy. But at $50, I want something that's really, really good. There are, unfortunately, well, fortunately, I should say unfortunately, unfortunately for Oak and Eden, fortunately for us, there's a lot of other great quality whiskeys out there in the $30 to even $50 range that really, honestly, are much better than this. Think of Cooper's Craft. Think of Pikesville. Think of, you know, even like the baseline product of even like Penelope, which is a source whiskey, but I'm thinking is a little bit more well-rounded. I mean, Cooper's Craft at $35, even Old Forester 100 at like $20, $25 at 100 proof. If I'm gonna spend $50, I might as well save a couple of dollars and get one of those products versus this one. If this was $35, I would say it's a definite buy. It's just a little expensive for the quality of the whiskey that you're getting. And honestly, you can tell on the back end, being that the finish is so quick, you can tell that it is definitely younger aged whiskey. It's not bad, it's just not worth $50. That is a key difference. All right, let's go over to the next one. Maybe the 4 grain with the toasted spiral might be better. We shall see. All right, going over to the 4 grain. So this is the 4 grain with the toasted spire. All right, here we go. The nose on this is definitely completely different. Wow, it's really weird. The nose on this almost has like almost like some notes of like, it reminds me of a nose of like a traditional Irish whiskey. It's a little bit more earthy than the traditional bourbon nose. A little bit earthier notes as a whole. You do get a little bit, okay, there we go. You get a little bit of caramel, a little bit of pepper, but you get a lot of like earthy notes, very almost like herbal kind of notes, like almost like herbal kind of tea notes in a way. Oh, that's really interesting. I did not expect that at all. All right, real quick, before I dive into this, 3 quick favors. Number 1, hit the like button. Number 2, drop a comment. Let me know, have you ever tried Oak and Eden? Either these base products or their cast strength, or even like some of their special releases like the honey finish or their coffee finish. Those are more like the specialty ones. Let me know if you've tried any of those. And if so, what are your thoughts? Last but not least, please make sure you hit the subscribe button. Also drop a comment as well. Cool? All right. Here's to the 4 grain. The earthy 4 grain. Cheers, everybody. But see, it's like the same feeling. It's the same thing. It's nice. Between the two, I almost prefer the 4-grain more than the standard bourbon. But I will say, hold on, let me get a smidge more. Yeah. Okay. This 4-grain is actually a little bit better than the standard. I would say this is moving very closely to the buy category. The challenge with it, though, is that the finish, it's super thin. You can have a 90 proof whiskey and it still can have a lot of great complexity to it. To me, this is just very, very thin. I mean, it goes like instantly. Like, I had it, I enjoyed it, it's gone. Like, you don't even remember it. Like, after about 15, 20 seconds. That's the only problem with with both of these so far. This one, though, but between the two, is definitely better. So if you're going to take the leap of faith and you wanted to buy one really badly, I thus far would go with the 4-grain. But if I'm giving it a verdict, and I'm going to keep it real, this too is a do not buy. It's not that the quality of the whiskey is bad, it's just a little too young. I love the whole adding Inspire into it. It changes it up. It, you know, makes you kind of think like, oh, well, maybe if I keep this forever, maybe it will be better. I don't know, maybe it will be, but not initially. This is not, it's not great. It's just okay. $35 or $30? Absolutely, I would buy this. Again, that's the key difference. It's just a little overpriced for the quality of whiskey that you're getting. All right, on to the last of the bunch, if you will, last of the Mohicans. Here we go. So this is the wheated bourbon finished in a toasted French oak spire. So there's a little spire that's put into this one, but it's a toasted French oak spire. So this might change the game a little bit. This is the wheater. All right, here we go. I'm pulling for at least one of these to be a buy. I mean, they are decent. They're just, you know, they're just okay, to be honest with you. They really are. All right, let's go for the wheated. Let's see how this one is. Now the nose on this one is much better. Wow. The nose on this of the three by far leaps and bounds. The nose is really nice on this one. It has notes of like definitely like some almost like a cinnamon meets like a maple syrup meets almost like a baking spice, almost like a little bit of like a doughy kind of a note. Oh yeah, the cinnamon, a little bit of maple syrup, a little bit almost like fresh baked bread, like a little bit of like some doughy notes, and a smidge of like caramel and honey kind of mixed in together. All right, nose wise, I'm digging the wheated for sure. I'm definitely digging the wheated for sure for the nose. All right, here we go. Cheers, my friends. Ooh. Wow. Okay. Interesting. Very interesting. Hold on. Let me get a smidge more. Ooh. Okay. Wow. That might be, folks, we have a winner. We finally have a buy here. So the wheated toasted French oak coming in again at 90 proof is a buy. Let me explain the reason why. Here's the reason why. That had a longer finish for a 90 proof whiskey, a longer finish, and the mouth, like the palate it was definitely robust. It matched the palate for sure. It was a great explosion of flavors, in my opinion, in the palate, and the finish was a little bit longer than those two. So for at $50, you would say, Judge, is it worth it at $50? Barely, but I do think it's actually worth it. This is one that I think you can definitely sip neat, especially if you're someone newer to whiskey, but even those experienced whiskey drinkers as well, like myself and others. This is one I think would go well neat, or even with like a cigar, or, you know, just like on a normal night as a whole. This I thought was actually really, really good. Let me get a little bit more. I'm going to finish it. Wow, that nose is nice. Okay, confirmed. If I'm buying one of these, which one am I buying? Hands down, buy the Wheated Oak and Eden. This, in my opinion, is by far the best from start to finish. The nose, the palate, and the finish was a little bit longer than both of these. At $50, I definitely do think it's worth adding to your collection and trying it. I actually enjoy this a lot, and I think I'll actually go back and get a bottle now, but only of the Wheated. Hey friends, until the next time, peace, cheers, salute. Again, catch me Friday night on ADHD Matt Porter's channel for the challenge. We'll see how that one works out for the judge. All right, friends, peace out. See ya.